What's going on, everyone? Hope you are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to do a little 2017-2018 comparison on what I think is one of the biggest upgrades between the 2 years, and that is the gauge cluster. So as you know, in 2018, the Tundra went through some minor refreshes, but one of the things that they really tackled was the gauge cluster. I got to give Toyota credit because on the Tundra, it's pretty much the same exact gauge cluster throughout the trim range. If you go to some other brands, when you get down into the lower work truck or fleet truck, stuff like that, it's a different gauge cluster altogether. It kind of looks a little cheap, but Tundra from 14 to 17, which is what we're sitting in right now, 2017 Platinum, is the same on the work truck as it is on the Platinum, and in the 2018, same thing. Doesn't matter what trim you have, pretty much the same idea. So I applaud Toyota for that. Quality from down low to all the way up high. So before we turn the truck on, this is what the 2014 to 2017 gauge cluster looks like. I'm a big fan of this because I kind of like the old school look of the tach, the speedometer, you know, you got your fuel, your engine temperature, that kind of thing. But a lot of the newer brands, you will see that this is pretty much all big one computer screen, and you don't see these until you actually turn the truck on. I kind of like the old school look of just seeing everything I need right in front of me. And this, once we turn the truck on, is your information screen giving you everything you need to know about the truck. So now we have turned the 2017 Tundra on, and here is some of the stuff we get on the information screen. We'll start here with settings, and what you have to do is if you want to do anything with settings, you push and hold the display button on the steering wheel. All right, and then you could change your turn-by-turn navigation settings, language, the units you use in case you go to Canada and all that, or you can hit exit. You hold display again, you get back to that screen. And you could also shuffle through this by just hitting display. Okay, so the next thing is your average fuel economy. Now, I know a lot of you are going to see this average fuel economy and be like, wow, you get really good fuel mileage. Don't think that. The supercharger gives a false reading with the MPG in this truck. It always makes the number super high because it's getting so much air, of course, from the supercharger. But yeah, there you could get your average fuel economy, you know, when you're doing trips or whatever. Next, it's your current fuel economy. So inside this area right here, there's a little green bar that'll show you what you're actually doing real time on the highway, whatever, if you're doing any testing, if you're trying to keep a certain number, if you're trying to hyper mileage, all that kind of stuff. This is one screen I actually never use at all. Moving on down the road, that is your distance to empty. So your fuel, obviously your fuel. Don't forget, when you get up into the newer Tundras, I believe it's 2016 and up, you get the 38-gallon tank, which gives you a range 550 to 600 miles. In fuel, which is always a good thing. That is your elapsed time since you last started it. So if you go on a long trip, you could see how long you were actually from turnkey start to wherever you're going to, in case you want to log that kind of stuff. And then you have your average speed along your last trip. Also, you have your trailer brake control. You could set up your gain, your output, all that stuff when you're, you know, if you're going to tow, whatever. This is the screen to do it on. And then back to settings. So that's literally all you have in the 2014 to 2017 on the information screen. It doesn't take very long to get used to it. It's not that hard to deal with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the 2018 to see some of the upgrades. All right, so let's get started shuffling through these screens, shall we? So the first one we're gonna see is our digital speed readout, which we've all wanted for a very long time. So happy to have that for once. So the difference here, before we go any further with this information screen compared to this 2017, is up here you got little icons, okay? And you don't just shuffle through it, you can actually go into each icon by hitting the down button. So there you go. So you hit the arrows on the steering wheel and you could actually go through each thing to see what's in there. So you got your tank average, trip distance, trip time. There's your digital speed readout again, and how much fuel you have left. So then you could go over to the next screen, and it's basically showing you, what direction you're traveling, a little compass, and there is no down button for that for more options. In your music, it'll show you whatever radio stations you're on, and you can actually change it from the steering wheel, so that's pretty cool. And this is all your blind spot monitoring here. There's some things you can turn on and off. There's your tire pressure, which I need this in the 14 to 17. This is one thing that I really want, and it's something that every vehicle should have just for safety and everything, but I feel like if I got this, I'd be really OCD about it. If you go down again on the screen, you get your trailer brake control there, and you could set it up. Here's messages if there's anything the truck wants to tell you, if there's something wrong with the truck, check engine, all that stuff. And then, of course, you have your settings. You could shuffle through those. Again, more of your Toyota safety sense is involved here, but that's pretty much it. And then when you turn the truck off, it actually shows you your trip summary, which is very cool. So as you can see, it's a nice little upgrade. It's nothing too crazy, but some of the things that they upgraded, it just looks good overall. The information screen on the center just looks a little more modern. You get some more options with it. And the overall just layout of the gauges, I like it a lot better, honestly, in the 2018 than the 14 to 17. But overall, it does the same thing, pretty much the same truck. But for 2018, the two major things that they updated, gauge cluster, and of course, everybody got new grills. And then, after those two physical things, they also gave you the Toyota Safety Sense, which is probably why they updated the center screen with all this modern stuff. But my two favorite things of this center screen by far are the digital speed readout and the PSI that you could check individually on each tire. That is fantastic and very safe for those people, who do their towing or whatever you do hauling. Knowing your tire pressure can be the difference between a safe trip and a problem. You got to know your tire pressure. That's a huge thing, especially when you live up here in the Northeast or in Canada. You got ice on the roads, things like that. And if you're hauling, you want to be safe and you want everyone on the road to be safe. So that is something, big ups to Toyota for doing that. But overall, both gauge clusters, very simple, very straight to the point, but just the little things, So this is an upgrade that I really enjoy. And, sometimes it's just the small things that are better. And this was a huge difference. So tell me what you think. Do you like the 2018 gauge more than the 14 to 17 gauge? What would you like to see on the next Tundra as far as the gauges in the middle, the information screen? Do you want to see something a little more modern? I know in the Camry XSE V6 that I had, it was just a completely different look and it had a lot of screen in it. It pretty much had a screen with no edges that kind of went to the actual physical gauges that were in there. Personally, I'm cool with what we got right now, but yeah, I'd love to know in the comments below, what do you want in your gauge cluster? What do you want in your information screen? So yes, comment below the video, Twitter and Instagram at Tundra234. Guys, have a great day.